Day of May 2020. My name is Zinab Ismail. We have all the stories making headlines across the country and beyond. But we begin in West Pokot. Now, the heavy rains being witnessed across the country has exposed infrastructure gaps in various parts of the country. A bridge in Kongelai Trading Center in West Pokot has been cut off, affecting transport in Kapenguria Alale Road. Traders and residents from Kongelai area have not been able to access essential goods and services such as food. The area leaders are faulting contractors working on the road for delivering a shoddy job and asking for the government to disburse emergency funds to rehabilitate the bridge. The county is still healing from the landslide that hit the region late last year, and flash floods continue to displace residents.
Watu wa Uganda walikuwa wanakuja mahali hapa kuleta chakula na vitu vingine ambavyo inasaidia mwananchi. Lakini sasa kulingana na maji yanavyoleta hasara, tunaona mto huu unaenda kukatisha na kuharibu maisha na uchumi ya wenyeji wa mahali hapa.
Juzi maji tuli huko chini kwa chemzi hapa Kongelai. Usiku tunapanda juu ya miti. Maji ikasamba kila kitu. Hata kuku hata nini.
And we'll continue to bring you more on what is happening with regards to the havoc that has been brought about by the floods in various parts of the country. We do have our Leila Mohammed who will be bringing us more details on the Tana River situation. Well, meanwhile, the Communications Authority has reported a surge in incidences of cybercrime as many Kenyans take onto online platforms to keep businesses afloat in the face of COVID-19. Some digital solution service providers have reported double-digit increase in incidences of cybersecurity threats ever since the start of the reporting of the first COVID-19 patient in Kenya in March. Stakeholders are now calling for greater vigilance to help stem the tide of rising cybersecurity threats.
The move from the workplace to the home, you find that there is a use of multiple devices and some devices that might not have the kind of security features that would be appropriate to support the services that it's being used for. And as a result of this, you find that there's an increase in a lot of cybercrime, phishing, hacking, and even children are increasingly being exposed to content that would otherwise not be appropriate.
We're seeing a 57% increase in cyber attacks, and I think this is because with everybody suddenly working outside of the organization, they're accessing their local area network or their systems and ERPs through unsecure methodology.
Now, the Tourism Ministry is pushing for deferment of tax payment by businesses operating in the sector as a measure aimed at keeping the industry resilient amidst the COVID-19 shock. Principal Secretary Safina Kwekwe Tsungu says the ministry is also working through ways of establishing a tourism recovery credit scheme which is meant to cushion the industry and ensure that we retain as many jobs as possible. The Kenya Tourism Board has called for a change in the destination's marketing strategy due to the shifts in the travel behaviors among visitors as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic.
We have seen a decline in global travel because of closed airspaces. We have seen a decline in jobs. People are losing jobs to the tune of 100 plus million. We are seeing a drop in the sector's contribution to the GDP, and we are going to see more of this going forward until the world finally finds itself settles with the reality of COVID-19.
Meanwhile, a local administrator has been arrested in Isiolo County in connection to a recent cattle rustling incident. It is alleged that the chief attempted to shield the cattle rustlers despite having information where the stolen animals were hidden. Isiolo County Commissioner Herman Shambi says the chief is in custody, while also warning that no one will be spared in the endeavor to bring the age-old cattle rustling menace to an end. Shambi has lauded security officers for their efforts to recover stolen animals, adding that a dairy cow and 5 goats recently stolen from a peasant farmer in Kambiaju area have all been recovered.
Sitakubali kukaa na mali ya wizi hapa Isiolo. Hiyo mpaka irudi, na nashukuru. Ile 23 iliibiwa Meru juzi tumepata 18. Bado hiyo 5 imebaki na naitaka haraka sana. Kuna nyingine iliibiwa ng'ombe 24 wamehepa hivi, lakini tumechukua mbuzi zaidi ya 200 tumeziweka mpaka walete ng'ombe ya watu.
And in other stories also making headlines regionally. Now, despite South Sudan's growing cases of the coronavirus, the country's President Salva Kiir has eased restrictions in the country. The move by the government has, however, raised concerns for those living in internally displaced camps. The number of new cases have shot up in the country from the total of 6 cases at the beginning of last week.
With slightly under 100 confirmed cases so far, South Sudan's announcement that they will ease restrictions in the country to combat COVID-19 comes with fears, particularly in the country's internal displacement camps. At the Protection of Civilians camp, nearly 30,000 residents are on edge. Maintaining hygiene and social distancing is a tall order here, and relaxing the controls may make it worse.
For example, in our rooms, you find 10 people in the same room, or you find 3 people in the same mosquito net. From there, how can we put the rule that says that make 1 distance?
There is need for soaps, both liquid soap and hard soap, to be distributed to the communities in need, so that we keep it as way mean for COVID-19 protective measures. This is one of the most challenging.
The measures include a 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew, now being pushed to 10 p.m. until 6 a.m. Restaurants and bars will also be reopened. Travel by air, land and water have also been reopened, as well as regional flights back to South Sudan. Masks are still mandatory, and buses and taxis are only allowed to operate at half capacity. However, this has not stopped cases within the camp from rising.
We're particularly concerned that there have been a couple of cases mentioned or tested positive in the camp here just outside Juba. Now, there are tens of thousands of internally displaced persons living there, so they live in quite cramped conditions. And I think the big difficulty there is if you've got lots of people living in a single home without maybe running water inside that, it's very difficult for people to respect hand washing, social distancing, wearing a mask.
South Sudan confirmed 16 new cases on Thursday, bringing the total to 90 in the country.
Still globally, days after Wuhan, the global epicenter of the coronavirus, recorded tens of new cases, the Chinese government has rolled out a mass testing exercise in the city as concerns grow over the possibility of a second wave of infections. More than 11 million people live in the city, and more than 3,800 people have succumbed to the virus. Virus clusters have also appeared in recent weeks in the northeastern provinces of Jilin and Heilongjiang, which border Russia. President Xi Jinping told a Communist Party leadership meeting on Thursday that containment measures have been stepped up and must be stepped up in Wuhan to forestall a possible resurgence of infections. China has barred most foreigners from entering the country. However, despite the lingering concerns, residents of Wuhan have also done their best to return to their normal way of life. And the World Trade Organization is staring at a leadership vacuum at a time when there is urgent need to restore global trade following the disruption of supply chains brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. This follows the announcement by the Director General of Geneva-based trade body, Roberto Azevedo, that has stepped down effective August 31st, 2020, a year earlier than the expiry of his term. The former diplomat from Brazil says he will cut short what would be a 7-year tenure at the helm of the WTO in the recent past. The WTO has come under intense pressure from US President Donald Trump, who accused the Geneva-based trade body of being against the US. And back into the country as cases of COVID-19 in Migori County continue to rise. The growing jitters on the situation in Tanzania has led to calls to have the border points closed, among these being at the Isebania border in the county of Migori. A spot check by NTV reveals that Matarangwe, Gwitembe, Nyamaturubo, Nyamatiro, Nyamagagana, Kopanga and Kogaja towns are the points of interest since foreigners have been sneaking into the country via borders. NTV's Bernardo Juang now joins us live from Migori and will be giving us an update on that. Juang, really, how are the authorities have been responding to this particular risk on the border?
Well, thank you very much. Just as you said, we are here in Migori County. And remember, the issue of porous borders has really caused the Migori County. It started with 2 people and then was suppressed many. The number rose up to 7 people. And also, as we speak, it is around 11, 10 there. And of course, what many people are saying that they are saying these porous borders should be manned accordingly. And of course, they are saying that the exact number of police officers manning the borders are not enough. And they are also adding that along the borders, most of the Tanzanian citizens are currently misusing border operators along the borders, giving them 50 shillings at least to enable them sneak into the country to do their business. And also, that is in the morning and in the evening, they are. This is the issue that is, according to the County Health Department, they are saying that something should be done at least to enable them help them in the fight against COVID-19. And as spotted by NTV in different towns in Migori County, we came to realize that majority of residents, they do not observe the preventive measures that have been put by Minister of Health, even though the police and also Minister of Health officers are really trying their best at least to ensure that the directives are also adhered to. And as we speak, along the borders, we are made to understand the towns like Kogaja, towns like Kopanga, people are just crossing anyhowly. And of course, the residents are accusing the government at least to ensure that something should be done. And of course, yesterday in Rongo town, police officers managed to arrest 10 people who came all over from Nairobi, at least to come and attend a in North Kamagambo, and currently they are they have been quarantined here in Rongo level 5 hospital, and currently they will be there waiting medical officers at least to do some tests. And currently, according to what the area of OCPD, we were saying that they are on high alert and they will not enable somebody to come into Migori County or Rongo without getting information. Let's hear what he was saying.
Wanajaribu kujificha wakiwa wanafikiria kwamba sisi wanarongo hata hawatashikwa. Kumbuka hii, wanarongo wako macho. Hakuna kiti itaibita. Ukiona ile mtu si kawaida ama mgeni, watapasha hisabu.
That was Rongo Sub-County Police Commander. He was speaking there, explaining what transpired yesterday night. And as I've told you, the 10 people are currently they're currently at Rongo Level 5 Hospital, where they are being quarantined. And also, the OCPD said that the family where they went, because 5 people managed to attend the burial yesterday, and the family there, they have been told not to move out of that home. And without wasting time, I'll be speaking to one of the residents here in Rongo town. Just tell, what do they think should be done at least to enable the government officers, especially from the health department, at least to curb the spread of this COVID-19. This is we are at the border, Migori County. We are bordering Tanzania. What do you think, you as a local, what do you think should be done at least to enable this the government through the Ministry of Health curb these menace?
I think for the county government as a whole, the national government should at least try and put some or enforce measures in Migori, because we have the nearing borders, which is Isibania and those parts of Sirere. The borders are being misused, and we would urge the county commander to at least be bold enough to deploy some security measures so that we ensure that the border operators are not being misused by being given 50 shillings to at least ferry people from the neighboring border country where the pandemic, we understand, has gone at alarming rate. Yes.
Okay. Do you think the government is doing enough, at least in manning the borders?
As of now, we are not bolstered in confidence on whatever measures that they are doing, but we urge them, and in fact, we want to send a message to the county commander to be very strict and deploy the GOC, even if we can have the GOC officers manning the borders, so that we control the curb or the influx movement of strangers coming out from the nearing border countries.
Okay, before I let you go, it started in Homa Bay County, where people came all the way from Nairobi to attend the burial, and also in Rongo yesterday they managed to arrest 10 people, and currently they have been quarantined. What do you think should be done? Whom do you think is to blame? Because these people are coming all over from Nairobi.
I think the measures that the government should take to this our nearing border countries is just to have, I think we should be having the roadblocks and place of points where people are being tested, as in when the temperature is high. I think these people, after their temperature has been tested and the temperatures are high, they should be taken to quarantine so that we curb this pandemic disease.
Well, thank you very much. Well, I was speaking to some of the locals. They are saying that something should be done, especially along the borders. They are also urging the ministry concerned at least to ensure that several officers are deployed there, at least to enable at least to assist their colleagues manning the borders, man the borders, because most of the majority of Tanzanian business operators, they are misusing borders, paying them 50 shillings at least to enable them sneak into the country in the morning, and also in the evening they sneak back to Tanzania. And remember, this is something that even Migori County Commissioner is aware, and he said that something is going to be done at least to ensure that our borders are protected, and help and also ensure that the fight against COVID-19 is success. Back to you.
All right, Bernardo Juang there at the Isebania border point in Migori County. And of course, this is a situation that we are closely monitoring as well. And of course, the porous borders, that has now become quite a big challenge for the government in terms of containing the spread of the infection. Of course, let's now take a short break here on NTV at 1. We still have a lot more we've lined up for you. Stay with us.
Sonadol Extra imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli kupambana haraka na maumivu ya kichwa, mwili na hata meno. Sonadol Extra, hakika maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Working from home? No problem. Fiber Home has you covered with the fastest and most reliable internet speeds. Get connected today. Kazi lazima iendelee.
Listen to me. I just found the money that Agatha took away from you. I'm going to give it back to you in exchange for my daughter's life. Let's just leave this place, forget everything, and head back to the States.
Because of Erica?
Will you marry me?
You don't have to answer right now. I can wait, Erica.
No.
No. Where's the rest of the money?
I'm going to give you the rest of your darn money when you let Agatha go. You can take me with you in exchange for her. Agatha, just go already.
Don't you dare hurt my mother. Do you hear me?
Before I change my mind. If I don't get my money after tonight, my dear, I won't hesitate to kill your mother.
COVID-19 is preventable. Protect yourself, your family, and the community. This message has been brought to you by the Government of Kenya and its partners.
Thank you for staying with us. You're watching NTV at 1. Now, the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic in the country and the government's directives to prevent its spread has resulted in isolation and neglect of vulnerable members of the community. However, well-wishers have been supporting these forgotten members of the community through acts of compassion. Ruth Sarmoi has more.
The United Nations Refugee Agency UNHCR has donated non-food household items to more than 900 families in several parts of Trans Nzoia, which were affected by flooding due to heavy rains. The donations include blankets and tents for shelter.
Mikakati ambazo tutaweka kuhakikisha msaada inafikia waathiriwa ni kwamba yeyote ule atapatikana akiwa amehusika katika mambo ya iba ama kuchukua hii chakula kwa njia ambayo isiyofaa, basi atachukuliwa hatua kwa mujibu wa sheria vile ilivyo.
In Kiamba area, also in Uasin Gishu County, a group under the banner of Upendo Well-Wishers have been distributing masks to the elderly. They are also sensitizing people on basic hygiene practices to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
Sio watu wengi wanaelewa ugonjwa huu ni nini. Wengi hawana radio, wengi hawana television.
In Kiplombe, a group of youth understanding with the needy initiative have come up with a mobile application that enables them to mobilize resources, identify the needy, and keep track of how the resources have been spent. Elsewhere, vulnerable communities within the rural Kitui area have received food and mask donations from Critical Infrastructure Protection Unit (SIPU) administration officers. The kind gesture is aimed at supporting the local members of community who are struggling to fend for their households in the midst of this pandemic.
Askari juda wamejitolea, hawa ndio wameleta maoni, wakakuja kwa ofisi yangu wakasema wacha tushikane tutoe msaada.
Many people have lost their jobs as a result of this pandemic, and many are struggling to fend for their families. In Ruiru, the Sri Hindu Sanatan Mandir donated food to over 1,000 families that are less privileged in the area.
Watu hapa naendaga kwa kazini, wengine naenda kazi, but still chakula hapa natosheka. So we thought as a community, all sisi watu wote na get together and collect some money and food.
Mzigo tusio wa serikali tu. Kitambo tufika kwa kila mtu. Shughulika kwa jirani yako. Jirani yako asilale njaa kama unaweza kumsaidia na unga hata kama ni nusu kilo.
And a woman who has had challenges supporting a child with special needs in Eldoret has a reason to smile after NTV highlighted her plight. Mary Ngina had taken the responsibility of supporting Elvis Omondi after being neglected by his parents, one of whom is mentally challenged. Her 6 months rent debt has since been cleared, and the Council for Persons with Disabilities is looking into ways of supporting the family. Ruth Sarmoi, NTV.
Thank you, Ruth, for that report. And let's now take a look at stories making headlines in the world of sports. Now, the International Olympic Committee has set aside $800 million to help with the severe financial impact caused by the postponement of the Tokyo 2020. Organizers will get $650 million after these summer's games were postponed by a year because of the COVID-19. The other $150 million is set to be split into loans for international sports federations and the National Olympic Committee with cash flow problems. IOC President Thomas Bach could not speculate on whether there would be a further delay or cancellation if a vaccine for COVID-19 is not found before next year's event, which is due to run from 23rd July to the 8th of August.
We anticipate that we will have to bear costs of up to 800 million US dollars for our part of the responsibilities for the organization of the games. And this amount there will be covered by the IOC itself, of course including any funding we may have to refer to from the Olympic Foundation.
Now, the German Bundesliga becomes the world's first major football league to get back underway during the coronavirus pandemic this Saturday. Now, Saturday's fixtures will see second-placed Borussia Dortmund host Schalke at the Signal Iduna Park. Our live match on NTV from 3:30 p.m. We will bring you Augsburg taking on Wolfsburg without their coach Heiko Herrlich, who broke quarantine rules by leaving the team hotel to buy toothpaste and will miss the restart. In other matches, Hoffenheim play Hertha Berlin, Fortuna FC take on Paderborn, Leipzig face Freiburg, and Frankfurt battle Borussia Mönchengladbach. Defending champions and current league leaders Bayern Munich play Union Berlin, while Cologne host Mainz on Sunday. Now, with the Olympics postponed due to the coronavirus, top Japanese fencer Ryo Miyake has swapped his metal mask and foil for a bike and backpack as a Tokyo Ann-Barrett's delivery man. The unprecedented postponement of the Olympics hit Miyake hard as he was enjoying a purple patch in his career. After missing out on the Rio 2016 Olympics, Miyake came 13th in last year's World Fencing Championships, the highest ranked Japanese fencer at the competition. The International Olympics Committee has set the new date for the Olympics on July 23rd, but with no vaccine available for the coronavirus that has killed nearly 300,000 worldwide, even that hangs in the balance. And Major League Soccer extended its moratorium on team or group training through June 1st as coronavirus concerns continue to disrupt global sport. MLS suspended play on March 12th in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic. Last week, the league allowed individual players to return to outdoor team facilities to train where local government restrictions did allow. The update came amid reports that MLS was considering a resumption of competition with all 26 clubs taking part in a standalone tournament to be played inside a secure bubble in Orlando in Florida. The plan reportedly calls for teams to head to Florida in June for 1 month of training before tournament kicks off. The games would not be part of the regular season, and it remained unclear where or if the formal 2020 campaign would be completed. Alright, and that is all we had lined up for you in the sporting world and in other stories that making headlines across the country and beyond. Thank you so much for joining us, but stay with us. Of course, we'll be bringing you the updates from the Ministry of Health. That's the daily brief with regards to the situation in the country on the COVID-19 infection. Let's stay with us. And my name is NTV Smile. Stay safe, stay at home, and good afternoon.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
I help women find independence by training them in fish farming. It's tough on my back, joints, and can cause headaches. Panadol Extra relieves multiple types of pain.
If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Basic protective measures as guided by the World Health Organization. Clean hands frequently with soap and clean water. Cover nose and mouth when coughing and sneezing with a tissue or flexed elbow. Avoid close contact 1 meter or 3 feet with anyone with cold or flu-like symptoms. If you have fever, cough and difficulty breathing, seek medical care early. Avoid raw or uncooked animal products. Help the world put an end to the spread of respiratory diseases by sharing this message with a friend. Message brought to you by Sour Herbal Family Bath Soap.
Hi, my name is Victor Nyama. I'd like to take this opportunity to wish all my fellow Kenyans peace and safety during this difficult time as we fight the coronavirus pandemic. Please follow the instructions given by the Ministry of Health as we fight this pandemic. Wash your hands thoroughly with running water and soap, or use sanitizers where necessary. Keep your environment clean. Stay at home, avoid unnecessary movement. Take the necessary precautions to keep yourself and the family safe. To my fellow athletes, please train in isolation and take the necessary precautions. We shall overcome this pandemic. May God bless you all, and God bless Kenya.
NTV, turning on your world. The following program has been rated PG. It may contain scenes unsuitable for children under the age of 10.
You should probably pick that. It might be important.
No, this is some guy who's been bugging me.
So it's a guy.
I found it on my doorstep.
Well, then you're under no obligation to take care of it. You know why this marriage between you